criminal, illegal aliens affiliated with 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 are charged with kidnapping, shooting, and drilling a hole in a woman's hand to get her ATM information from her. And then they dump her in the mountains for dead. She lives. Meanwhile, Seattle officials, Washington state officials, they defend sanctuary city policies. Make this make sense. Let's get into it. Here we go. Maybe there was a drug debt that hadn't been paid. Maybe they smuggled her into the country and she's being, human trafficked. Maybe she's being sex trafficked. I don't really know. Any one of these things could happen because this is what happens when you've got sanctuary city policies. You've got these, convicted or not convicted, but criminal illegal aliens that take advantage of this. Because they know even if something bad happens, they get busted, not much is going to happen to them because you've got these knucklehead politicians that are like, oh, we're not going to allow ICE to detain any of the criminals. And it's like, why not? They left her for dead. They'd leave you for dead. Pair of illegal Venezuelan migrants, including one with likely ties to 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, allegedly kidnapped a Washington state woman, power drilled a hole in her hand, and shot her on the side of the highway. Man, 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 shot at the victim but missed as she struggled and screamed for help to no avail. The brutes stuffed her in the car and kicked her head multiple times as they forced her to lie on the floor and tortured her for her bank information, according to a probable cause affidavit obtained by Fox News. That is absolutely wildly violent, isn't it? It is. But let's go ahead and keep the sanctuary city policies up. Let's just keep that going. Then they threatened her by telling her they were going to kill her family, and feed her to the bears and dump her body far away. Now, that's probably going to put the fear of God in you as well, isn't it? Yeah. So these two guys allegedly drove the terrified woman to Kittas County, which was way east. It's I-90 and east, where they pulled over on Interstate 90. One of the suspects said the woman heard too much in the car and wanted her dead. Need to kill her. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and support sanctuary city policies because, they're so good for the state. They're so good for the city. I mean, you want to keep these guys. You don't want to turn these guys over to ICE, do you? Yeah. They pulled her out of the car, threw over a retaining wall. They shot her on a mountain pass and left her for dead. Woman was shot in the shoulder, but played dead for 15 minutes before she climbed back over the wall. What a terrifying, terrifying experience. You know what I mean? And yet you've got just jack-offs wanting to go down to El Salvador and get the hairdresser who's, allegedly a member of I think he's also 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, right? Or maybe he's MS-13. I want to get the MS-13. And there's some Democrat and politician that's like, I'm going to go to El Salvador and get him out. Good luck with that. Have you seen footage coming out of those prisons? It is wild. We need all U.S. prison attendees, members of the incarcerated, to attend, just an orientation, a workshop on how El Salvador handles their criminal enterprise. Meanwhile, the suspects then drove back to the victim's apartment where they stole her car, her purse, nearly 20 grand worth of jewelry and gold. She was rushed to a local hospital where she was interviewed by police who had responded to her apartment after neighbors reported hearing screams. So the neighbors knew what's going on. The neighbors know what the deal is. There's something that's been unpaid. There's something outstanding here. And these guys, they're looking for payment. They're looking to get what they see as theirs. And that's the whole problem with the sanctuary city, is that you are protecting criminals that are impacting your other citizenry. Now, I don't know if this woman is illegal. I don't know what her status is or any of those, but this kind of criminal behavior, drilling through somebody's hand, you got to give us your ATM. I'd give it up on that first hole. Yeah, here it is. Tell him. The FBI helped track 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's vehicle to a motel in Lansing, Illinois. Interesting. Illinois. Huh. Now, is that a sanctuary state? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know about Lansing, but Illinois, I mean, J.P. Pritzker, and in Chicago, you got, let's go, Brandon. He was arrested, and a subsequent search of his hotel room revealed the woman's jewelry. Well, because it was worth something and he hadn't had time to spin it off yet. So, meanwhile, as this is going on, look at what we got going on here with Seattle. This is just shocking stuff. But this is the libtards. This is the libtards mantra, right? Here we go.
Now I have to understand their fear for their safety, for the tearing apart of their families, and they have to know elected leaders like myself.
In a sanctuary city like Seattle.
Weak, Bruce. Weak. No. Yeah, we need to drop the hammer on these people. Really do. And this whole thing of, they're going after the kids at school. We literally had Seattle police go to a school in an unmarked car, and everybody freaked out because, it's ICE. It's not ICE. They're going after criminals. They're not just scooping up regular people. And that the whole thing is just.
Police officers cannot ask people about their immigration status.
So our police department will not rat out its citizens to ICE. Or
the other way of saying that is, so our police department will not basically protect its citizens from criminal illegal aliens committing crimes in our city, in our state. They're not doing that, huh? Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
No.
Got it.
We don't do that. We're here to protect and serve.
By not deporting known convicted criminal illegal aliens, how are you protecting and serving? Who are you protecting and serving? Inquiring minds want to know, right? Now, this is what Democrats have to say, because otherwise, with their misguided ideology, the rest of the misguided Democrats would go, just have a meltdown, right? Need to get these folks out.
This protester lives in Seattle and is not a U.S. citizen. They asked to remain anonymous.
Of course.
we keep it this way.
The mayor says he wants to protect
so bad
with nonviolent backgrounds.
Immigrants that are actually violent, I support that, but I don't support just deporting people.
You're missing the boat because they're basically going after criminals. There's going to be some collateral damage. Yeah, he's only a junior member of MS-13. Well, we're going to send him to El Salvador anyway. So,
That are peaceful.
Data obtained by NBC found the number of detainees in ICE custody who haven't faced criminal charges increased by more than 1,800 in the first 2 weeks of February, representing 41% of the total new detainees in that period. In Tuesday's address, President Trump criticized the former administration's stance on immigration. The Seattle city attorney joined a lawsuit last week.
We will take legal action to protect our rights and protect our funding.
That lawsuit claims it's targeting sanctuary cities.
Good.
We want,
Good
response times. And so we want our transportation projects completed. We want our housing developed. And so this threat of public funds because of our status as a sanctuary city.
Because you're harboring convicted criminal illegal aliens. You're protecting them. That's why. So all this talk about, the innocents, they're not going after those folks. They're not just ripping, kids out of school. They're not taking mom out of Bible study. You get a clue. But you gotta, if you're in a big blue Democrat city like I am here in Seattle, in Bellevue, you've got to say these things because Bruce Harrell would be absolutely lambasted if he said, oh, yeah, you know what? Just let the police do their thing. Police, you guys go ahead and work with ICE. I mean, let's create a fortified front against the illegals committing crime here in our state. But that's not what Democrats want. Democrats want this virtue signaling and this ability to point and say, we're really good people. We really, really, really want to help those in our midst that need the help the most, but not protect against the criminals. Yeah. All right.
We believe is unlawful and will protect our city's rights.
I think any city, I think any state that has a sanctuary city in it, I think any state that identifies as sanctuary city, I think they're target. They should be a viable target for defunding. Defund sanctuary cities. I have zero issue with that because they're impeding law enforcement from basically doing their job, which is getting the criminal illegal aliens out. Governor Bob Ferguson issued the following statement. Yada, yada, because Trump said he's going to withhold all federal funding. This is exactly the issue I talked about in my press conference 9 days ago. We have a $16 billion budget shortfall. We're facing escalating threats from the federal government. Federal dollars make up 28% of our state's budget, $43 billion per biennium. The threats to our federal funding are very real. Well, how about you give up on protecting the criminal illegal aliens in your community, in the cities, in your state? What about that? How about we do that? And then we're all basically going down the path of, hey, let's get the whack jobs out. Let's get the members of MS-13 and the members of 𝗧𝗓𝗏𝗧𝗔𝗬𝗏. Let's get them out. Yeah, but that's not what we're doing. So we've got the Keep Washington Working Act is consistent with and requires compliance with binding federal. So you've just got this big showdown, right? That's what you've got. President Trump threatens federal cuts to sanctuary jurisdictions like Seattle. I say good. I say good because sanctuary, that's a no-go. I'm a hard no-go on that. Because I think it's literally missing the entire boat. You got to throw some people out. When you got 20 million people that have come into the U.S., you're going to have to toss some people out. You're going to have to toss some criminals out, some convicted criminals and some other folks that just flat don't belong here. You know, the fact that 75% of all these folks don't really qualify for sanctuary status within a community, just because it's a sanctuary city doesn't mean that you're going to get your citizenship through coming to a sanctuary city. It's a long, arduous process, and most folks simply don't qualify. But because we're in these big blue cities, you've got, officials that are saying, oh, we're going to support you. We're here with you. Seattle stands with you. Well, then Seattle doesn't stand against somebody getting their hand drilled into with a power drill. So explain that one to me. Explain, but we do support the deportation of criminals. How can you tell? How can you tell here? I mean, what are you going on here? Because everything I've seen from Seattle has just been bogus as far as ICE goes. I haven't seen one story that's been accurate on deportation of criminal illegal aliens in our midst. It hasn't happened. They've gone after every single ICE story that I've read. These guys have multiple charges against them and convictions, and they're known gang members. So if you want to argue that 𝗧𝗓𝗏𝗧𝗔𝗬𝗏 isn't here in the Pacific Northwest, good luck with that. Good luck with that after this story. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much. And I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.